What's happening, everybody? My name is Prev. We're essentially introducing. What's happening, everybody? Welcome to the podcast Youthoughts. So for our very first episode today, we are joined by two very intelligent, two very smart young people here in Harare. We are joined today by Kenias The Meraki as well as Vanessa. And just before we start, I would like to get them to introduce themselves to you just so that you understand and know whom you are going to be listening to. We'll start with you, Vanessa.
Hello, my name is Vanessa, and I'm a psychologist. I'm also a TV presenter, and I love all things that are fun and good.
Perfect. Great to have you, Vanessa.
And obviously, I'm not a guy from the capital city.
My man.
Yeah, I'm coming from the city where we have gold. I'm coming from the core of the nation. I'm coming from the mass central. Yeah, where everything happens. I'm Kenias The Meraki. Obviously, the guy with the dreadlocks. Marasta, representing Marasta is obviously. Marasta is what I could represent in the society. But okay, fine. So I'm a spoken word poet. I'm an author. I'm a photographer. I'm a blogger and painter. And obviously, on the other side, I run a brand called Meraki Life Entertainment, where we are into anything to do with entertainment, events, artist management, everything about that. And I'm someone who's too passionate about getting to know things, people, and where are we going.
Yeah, 100%. Great to have you, Kenias The Meraki. Saka, today our concept is essentially going to be like this. We've got very interesting topics that we are going to talk about. Our concept for today is essentially going to be like this. We've got 4 very interesting topics that we're going to touch on, the 3 of us that are here. And how this is going to work is that these conversations or these topics are going to be introduced by articles, which are essentially going to be made available to you, just so that you can understand where the conversations are actually stemming from. So the very first one that we're going to talk about today, we're going to talk about culture as a Zimbabwean people. And what's central to this podcast, or what's going to be central to this conversation that we're going to be having is the youth. In terms of culture, so that's what we're going to talk. That's going to be the first one. The second one is going to be religion. The third one is going to be politics. And the fourth conversation we're going to have will be about the economy of our country here in Zimbabwe. So I hope you guys are ready. I hope you guys are excited.
Let's talk about it.
Great stuff. So to introduce culture, we've had an article that we came across, which is available to you right now, which essentially talks about some cultural practices in which we have here in Zimbabwe. As a people, we essentially have traditions.
Right. Some
traditions which may be regarded by some as traditions that are obsolete and that are not necessarily or regarded as necessary. So there are things in which we put emphasis on, or things at which we still practice, or things which we still do, things that we still look at that may be deemed as kusara, kanaguti, just too old-fashioned. And the very first thing that we're going to talk about today would be virginity. So for all those that have read the article that we're talking about, it essentially talks about virginity, how that is perceived in our culture, how it is understood, and how people react to it. So we'll start with you, Mr. Kenias.
Why me?
We'll start with you, my man. Yeah,
why did you want to start with who knows how it feels to be, you know what I mean, and then how it feels to
what do you mean?
You're doing it. But and then as someone who comes from the ghetto, it used to be something that maybe way back they used to say, okay, fine, so the girl has to be virgin and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But with time changing, right? There's certain things that are changing. There's certain things that are now being done that are not, especially cultural tradition or what, but it's just how things are now happening as of today, where you can find 13-year-olds getting into sexual practices, where you will find anyone doing anything at any point in time, and we do not have to blame anyone for that because it's a choice, right? So if you choose to follow something and say, me as an individual, I don't want to sleep with anyone up until I'm married, that's you, right? So no one should force you into doing what you don't want to do because it's a free Zimbabwe. We're independent and we have the right to do what we want.
What does being a free Zimbabwe mean? Could that possibly be you saying we need to disregard the culture, the traditions, as Shona people, as Ndebele people, as Songa people, as Nambian people?
I feel like you have to be also very careful, like when you say free, because there are a lot of factors that play into actually having true freedom, which I feel like as Zimbabweans we don't really have. Like our freedom is a facade.
How do you define freedom? Because
freedom of speech, there should be like a lot of tactics like fear tactics and intimidation. Those are used a lot. And as Zimbabweans, it's like we're afraid of the government. We're afraid of, like, this is something that we're going to dwell into later on. But like as Zimbabweans, we're a lot. Well, something I've noticed because I didn't grow up in Zimbabwe, is Zimbabweans, we are afraid of talking about certain topics, about certain people, because we think that, I don't know, like it's a dangerous surface to touch.
So just back to culture and tradition. So my question is,
before we just go there, I just wanted to maybe mention something when I asked you what is your definition for freedom?
Right.
Because for me the first definition for freedom is the dreadlocks. It's freedom for me.
Okay.
Right? And I was listening to a song by Meek Mill and Jay-Z and Roscoe, What's Free? He says, what's free? Right? Free is when nobody can tell us where to be.
it's a good song.
Free is when nobody,
track,
you see, where the TV don't tell us what to see and all that.
So the man just confirmed every Rasta man out there, every time you see a Rasta, just know that's a free man.
Free man.
Yeah,
that's
he's
a
a
free
free.
man.
Free man.
But yeah, so back to the culture and traditional conversation. Truguti Isusu, are the practices in which, well, let's maybe start by mentioning a few. Are there some traditional practices in which you look at and you just be like, why are people still doing it? Is it still relevant? Do we still need to do this? Because then one thing which we need to understand is that for the people that lived at a time where this was practiced all the time with emphasis, with pressure, it worked for them. It had benefits. Yeah. Practicing these things, does it still serve us the same way that it served those people that practiced it? So for example, something like Lobola, I don't know what you think, Vanessa.
That's exactly what I was thinking about.
You guys usually want to talk about things that you have a benefit. Because
what do you mean?
Trust me, when we talk about virginity thing, right? At the end of the day, we want it to be a virgin so that we can charge him more. Because I bet you understand kuti kana pachirorwa mwana right pane mari kuti inobvizirwa a virgin only kune mombe dzinobvizirwa a virgin only, right? And Lobola, you people are still giving it a fuss because they want money, and the essence of it is really changed. Because kudari it was of creating a relationship and appreciation. Now it's more like I sent her to school. Look at Vanessa, she's doing well, she has a good job. I sent her to school, so I just don't want to give it away. You understand? So the whole essence of it being part of our culture has changed. So why are we still interested in certain things when we have neglected certain things about it? So I think
the giving Lobola, it's an appreciation to the parents for raising the girl.
That's the main like the initial.
Yes.
So just let her finish your thoughts.
But let's talk about what's happening now.
The virginity issue now, I feel like it's a little bit on the extreme. However, I do understand where that could be rooted from. It's I guess no man wants a girl who has slept with other guys before. It doesn't matter how many, but I don't think any guy wants to be with a girl.
How many people are marrying virgins in the 21st century?
We're very few people are actually even still virgins.
So what's the relationship between the virginity and the amount that is charged at It's like, is it that the more of a virgin you are, the the more expensive you are,
Every
like the
parent,
less of
You know how I
every
more
parent,
affordable
every
you
parent
become.
feels that their daughter is virgin, right? And every guy
That's
who,
not true.
and every
No.
guy who marries, as long as the girl is not known in the neighborhood, they say, I married a virgin. No guy want to walk around and be like, I am not the one who removed like
That's
my,
now
my,
I
my
think a
woman's
pride
virginity.
thing for men. Because now, like, a man will hold a woman as his, like, prize, right? So I think the fact, like, oh, I married a virgin, da 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 da, it's a pride thing.
Does that have any benefit
The
in society?
same way
So what's
with,
when
with,
you
the, with the parents say, you paid 55 million for my daughter, right? So it's one and the same thing.
does that
That's
have
what
any
he wanted
benefit
to give.
in
That's what he
society?
could.
Kuti, if you marry a person who's regarded as a virgin, are you more respected in society when you get out? Is that
It's
or if you married
I
as a
don't
virgin,
think
do
so.
people respect you? Is there like I don't know? Is there an extra honor at which everyone else doesn't have?
If you look at our world today, like, we're just bombarded by so much information. By the time you're like 11 years old, or by the time you're even like 5 years old, you already are exposed to a lot. So to say that, oh, my girl has to be a virgin, or I don't know, it just doesn't make sense.
It's just the same
not-
way we're saying my daughter got married and then I have Maria Kati and all that.
It's just to brag, you see. So that's why we realize that
So
we
does the bragging would you'd be able to brag because people respect that and people actually expect that. So there's a bragging obviously means
it's because they don't,
this is
they don't
something
give a
which is
fuss about what's
important.
going to happen after that.
I think it's now more of just like a preference. It's a choice. Like, nah, I want to marry a girl who's a virgin. Like, I prefer to marry a virgin. Yeah, it's funny. The other day I was
Security.
actually talking about this with my
Guys
friend, and
don't
I
want
was
someone
like,
to go after their woman, but they really want to go after somebody's woman. You understand? Like, everyone want their pride. I'm the only person who's sleeping with her, right? So if you came into someone be like, he was sleeping around with Taku, he was sleeping around with the Meraki, he was sleeping around with Ningi, and all that stuff, like.
So in essence, let me just get this straight. What would your perception of Lobola be, or what's your thinking? That do you think that this is something which we should just like completely do away with and
No.
completely forget and completely not practice? Because I feel like from what you've expressed so far,
Let's
been,
go back to the essence of it. That's the bottom line.
okay, so I wanted to explain, like, before we move on to your question, the other day I was talking to a friend of mine, and I said this to him. I was like, okay, so it's when you get a virgin girl, because his girlfriend is a virgin, right? They got together when she was a virgin. He
Lucky
broke
man.
her virginity.
Someone's
And
gonna
I
come,
was like,
man.
and I was like, oh, okay, so you got a clean slate. Like, you can literally condition her to do whatever it is that you want. Like, because she is a virgin, she doesn't really know much. She doesn't, know about the bedroom stuff a lot because it's
really
her first
interesting.
time. So you basically just got a clean slate. So you can paint whatever you want to paint on that canvas and get it to do whatever you like to do. And which is kind of true in a way. I know it's kind of objectifying, but it's true in a way. If you like,
I feel like a lot of
That's why most
feminists
of
out there
them they
just
cry
were,
like. I saw that
less,
video of a girl and MS were like crying like,
impressed.
Jack, what did you do? I gave him my virginity. And all that because it's something that ladies grow up being taught. It's something very important.
So moving on to your parents, and these are obviously people which we respect and people that are very important to us. Hey. Would you say that, well, because it's so important to your parents, it's important to your dad who says, well, I'm expecting a certain amount essentially because I took care of you, I sent you to school, I paid money for you, and all of this. So I'm expecting you to do this for me. Does not considering that make you a very selfish person?
Let me answer first.
Should we
before
not
she does.
consider what?
Before she does.
So I'll just repeat my question one more time for the benefit of Vanessa. You've expressed that this is a concept or a practice which is still regarded very highly by the parents. Yeah, they still really want you to, for the daughters to receive Lobola and for the sons to actually pay Lobola because they respect this tradition.
some parents.
Well, yeah, fair. But like, would not being considerate of that not make you a selfish person when you just like, well, I don't, you don't have to pay lobola for me. I don't need to pay lobola for someone, and completely disregarding what the parents would want. Is that not a selfish stance?
I wanted to answer first because obviously, for the first reason that I appreciate what mothers do, what fathers do, and parents or societies or some people do to bring up the lady. For her to be someone to say, I want to marry her, it's not easy, right? They go through a lot. They have to make sure that she go maybe to school, good grooming, teach her a whole lot of things and protect her as well.
Yeah.
So that has to be appreciated.
100%. Yeah.
That has to be appreciated. And if someone is also expecting that one day I'm going to bring my mom, someone's daughter, say that mama, this is Morawing, right? And I have to give her that dignity that she deserves in a cultural society where I'm coming from. Whether I'm going to stay with her in town or whatever, but that integrity or that dignity I'm going to give her to akatororwa, right?
And this is what it is. As much as we would like to deny it, I think of Zimbabwe as a very conservative country. Culturally, we're still really conservative. Yeah. There are some practices and things that we have that are really, really still
there are a lot of things like when because like I said, I didn't grow up in Zimbabwe, so I grew up, I guess, quite modern, you know.
Please
so,
enlighten us. Where did you grow up and how was it like there?
I grew up in Kenya.
Is that different to, would you say, in terms of culturally? And because
as a foreign in a foreign country, I didn't really get into the whole thing of like practicing the Kenyan traditions. I learned about them and I'm familiar with them. But then again, like Kenya has a lot more tribes as compared to Zimbabwe. Like they have Maasai.
And the practices are like super different.
And they're different. And so a lot of things about like the Zimbabwean traditions, I learned them when I came here. And so like a lot of people will be like, oh, so, you know, because I'm a single mom and I never went through that process of like Lobola or anything like that.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's like, oh no, he has to pay damages. I was like, what? What is that? And a list of things was like brought up and I was like, what in the world? I never even thought of this. You know, these are things like my parents never brought up to me. Even the idea of like me getting married and then it's like, oh, Lobola has to be presented, blah, blah, blah. I was like, what is this for? I didn't understand because I've never had that conversation before. Yeah. And so it's like I was learning the whole thing like from scratch.
So now that you've learned it, I'll come back to you now, Mr. Meraki. But now that you've had the topic and the the concept introduced to you, would you say that's something that you'd want?
Some of it, not all of it.
What would you take and what would you leave?
And then the intentions behind it as well, I think, matter. Gosh, what would I keep? I would keep Lobola, but the intentions of Lobola, I feel like nowadays is pretty like, no, he has to give us money. Like, this is our chance to get money out of this guy, you know? And I don't believe in that. Like, yes, you should pay Lobola, but like it's something that should come from your heart. Like, I love your daughter. I want to take her, and you know, I want her to be mine. You know, this is my a gift. It's a gift to the parents.
An appreciation, 100%.
Yeah, like, and then there's just other extra things that I'm just like, really.
Yeah, not that. Yeah, I'll just take them.
It's too much.
Chibaba, my question to you would then become. Would you?
Yes,
I would.
Yeah.
Would that depend on who the person is?
No. I would pay Lobola.
Guaranteed. Whoever you're going to get involved with, you are going to pay Lobola.
I'm supposed to do so, but are you going to do it?
Yes.
You sound like those ones. Because very different girls.
No. Before that, I was saying, Kuti, if the parents of the wife I'm going to take to my place gets to see this podcast, they need to know that I'm not going to pay something that is unnecessary for me to buy their daughter. I'm not going to buy her. Right?
Wait, so you are not going to pay Lobola?
No, I'm not going to pay Lobola in terms of buying her. No, I'm going to pay to appreciate her.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so you're going to take up money anyway.
Yeah, I'm going
for the right reason, which is to appreciate the daughter.
Because lately I heard that Prophet Makandio, he married the wife Ruth years back, right? And they got married. They went through the tribulations of life together. Like,
Yeah.
I love that couple. Like they've been
great people.
They've been like
Yeah.
through the thick and like together. You understand? And now he's successful. His ministry is now working, and the wife is still by his side. So I heard that he went to the parents and said like, when I married your daughter, I paid what I could afford then. Right, and she's been with me, and now I've made fortunes, and I appreciate her. So I want to appreciate you as well again. So I'm going to remarry her again.
Well, like paid more Lobola.
Yeah, so I'm going to appreciate her more. And then he goes like, Pepe, I'll pay number 20, right? Takatoti, I'm and then I'm
Yeah.
But now I'm coming in 40 more to appreciate with the show because and she's worth being appreciated.
Oh man, that's,
You understand? And it's so different
story.
from a couple of girls who get married now, neighborhood again, 50,000, then they break, and then the girl get beaten there, and then she thrown back home, bruises, and then us boys, find something to write. Right, giving us more pressure to write pieces for them to
giving more content.
No, not per se.
Yeah, no, personally,
But
gender-based violence.
Yeah.
But yeah, for the sake of progress, speaking of prophets, we have recently heard that there's a very prominent man of God who turned 100 years. Baba Guti.
Guti, wow.
Yeah, I would like to say congratulations, Baba Guti from Youthoughts.
100.
Great man.
Zana.
Very well known and great man. Yeah. But just to interlink these two conversations as we progress and move on, do you think, Guti, the issue of Lobola, which we just discussed, does that have any religious influence to it, Vanessa?
Yes, it does.
What religious influence does it?
I was going to mention that as well. Like, I feel like when it comes to giving Lobola and stuff, like when it's a lot of those other things that I'm saying are extra, I think it now also has like ancestral beliefs have a part to play in them as well, because they're like, I know you have to remove money because I don't know your great grandfather, great mother did this, so to honor them, So I think yes, it does. It does play a part in it, and a lot of us Zimbabweans, we're superstitious people. So because we know none of us want to have bad luck, none of us want to live I don't know, demonized or whatever it is. So like we out of fear, and I don't know, I wouldn't say fear per se, but out of fear, from what I've learned, we give some of these things. Yeah.
Next question. Shibaba, how would you say Guti how important is religion to the youth of Zimbabwe today? Is that something which we truly still appreciate and really understand the concept and what it's all about, and are we doing it right? I'm not too sure if you're Christian. Are you a Christian?
I'm a Catholic.
That's a Christian.
Yeah. I think the most important thing is I believe in Jesus Christ being the Son of God, and when He came and died for our sins.
Yeah. And what does that mean for you, religion in general? What does that mean for you? Is that something you still practice, and are you practicing it the way that you should? Does it have any benefit?
Yeah, it does, because as you were saying about superstition, right? I've ended up coming to appreciate the supernatural being that's God. Yeah. And how I appreciate Him and how I do things for me is diverse, because from different churches it's like Tidima Rastam Church and all that, but I want my freedom. Yeah. Remember Zimbabwe said freedom of worship. Yeah. You understand? Yeah. So religion now is turned is now something that is like now we have my prophet's a prophet, right? Men of God who love power more than using the power of love. You understand? And I was writing such a piece and performing it. I said, Kwandova, we have people but when odd selective and also regular but gumi. And but very slim no thing on masoto. You see. So any war fought under religious banner is holy. You understand? So when my church to give her the pride, she be like, Kenny, church do no under charter, and then you see, and then I can go meet this where it's like I'm gonna meet someone elder, so it's more like when I shout out dignity and pride and all that. So the whole essence of it now is always about what are people going to say at the end of the day, right? So you're no longer going to be doing what you want to do, so you're no longer free. So
as a youth, are you a Christian, Vanessa?
I am.
You're a Christian. So if you were to be asked, Kuti, what is the purpose of religion to you, and what does it mean, and why do you still do it? Do you still see any benefit in terms of how you're doing it? How would you answer that?
I don't know. Like I'm in this phase where it's like, okay, I don't really believe in religion, even though it's something that exists.
Yeah.
But I believe in God.
True.
Because
and how do you differentiate these two things, religion, spirituality?
Like I don't need religion for me to get to God.
True.
I can go straight to God. That's why Jesus came and he died for us. Right?
Makes sense. Yeah.
The veil broke, and so we can just go straight to God. So I don't need to go to a pastor or a prophet to say, hey, please pray for me. I have this problem. And then they give me a stone or water or whatnot, you know.
I need a one-on-one prophet.
I can just go directly to God and, you know, even in secret, or I could be walking, whatever it is, and just say, God, I need you right now. Like, you know? Yeah.
And what's the goal? What's the... Why are we praying? Why are we religious?
Why? No. Okay, I saw this video, really interesting video. This guy who was explaining how whales, they're fish, right? They live in water.
Yeah.
But they have to come out of the water to get air, because they are these creatures who they're in an environment that, I don't know, like they can't get out of. They live there.
Yeah.
But they have to come up to the surface to get air for them to live. And so he then said that we human beings, like we are spirits. And because we are spirits, we are of God, like we're children of God. So we have to have that connection with God for us to live, because God is the source of our, you know, like everything.
So true. And religion is obviously a very good thing. And like I said, Zimbabwe is a very conservative country. I think by looking at, you know, I grew up at a place where a lot of things happen, you know, a lot of criminal activities, a lot of bad things. And obviously it happens here as well. But it just so seems to be that in Zimbabwe, it is a little bit contained and it is somehow controlled. Would you attribute that to religion and how we practice it? So in terms of what do you call that? Fojika. They don't drink alcohol. Well, at least they're not supposed to. I don't know. Are they not doing it? Are they doing it? Like
they are doing it.
I was saying, Kuti, people be looking cool, but them inside they're broken, they're lost, they're miserable. They're like, it's like we are lions, right? But when we walk around, we look like shit. Like these guys are so humble. But what they do behind closed doors is like, dang.
Are you saying we're faking it, my man? Is that what you're saying?
We are worried about what people going to say. Like, someone was asking me, like, Kenias, I was reading your piece, right? And what were you feeling when you were writing that? Right? And then I was like, explain to the guy what I was feeling, right? And then I also explained to him what other people told me, how they thought when they listened to the piece.
Yeah.
And how that gave me an overall view of, so if people can feel this way after I'm writing these things, so it's easy for people to pretend, yeah. Or is it? Kuti, they'll be looking so cool, like, but end up church. You understand? Like, they are so holy. And so you think that they drink tea and they are angels at their place. But if you go to their house, you'll be like, is this what you are preaching? You understand? Is like you hear Kuti, my prophet, not to be whatsoever, but I don't know how you'd feel if uchenda church kwa tea Freddy and then obonzo tea Freddy ariku mpinyikidza vanhukadzi or those candles and magayoti prophet magayan to quote about rap and all those things. And I don't know, Kuti, how would you feel? Alright, Kuti, you're saying this is my idol when it comes to worshipping, and then those things are happening to him. So how do you? I don't know.
I think the biggest thing.
No, I think that's now you're talking about like spiritual attacks, because
Will you call them attacks?
Men of God are
So
actually
what are spiritual attacks? What are those? What happens?
I what would they call it? Like demonization? Like they're like you're possessed with a demon. Like in the Bible, there's so many scenarios where Jesus
Cast out demons.
Yeah, he cast out demons out of people.
Yeah.
I'm not saying like these men of God have demons or anything, but they are spirits, evil spirits that are sent to them because they're men of God. And they pray. Anyone who prays and believes in God is gonna get attacked. One way or the other.
So that's what you mean by spiritual attacks.
Yes. So when we hear stories of prophet Ningi or pastor so and so, they went through this. Like this person has been helping so many people, and they pray for you and you get your breakthrough, but then all of a sudden you hear kuti they were cheating on their wife, they got caught up in molestation or all of that stuff, pedophilia, whatever it is. Like instead of, a lot of us, we just rush to say he's a false prophet, like I'm never going back to him again. But if we go, like, we forget that there's a spiritual aspect to everything. Like we have to look at what made them do that sort of thing.
So just so we're on the same page.
Are you justifying?
Are you
justifying or looking for a reason for those things happening?
I'm not justifying. I'm trying to, I don't know, to
make
get
you understand,
to open your mind, I guess,
yeah.
because not everything is spiritual. You can even make this table spiritual if you wanted to.
So can I just ask you a question then? So if you encounter a situation like that where you've actually had assistance from a man of God, and he obviously was using the power of God, or so they say, to give you a breakthrough, whatever it is that you're suffering from, and then you come across these scandals, and they're doing these things. I think a lot of them have been molesting kids, and some of them have been convicted, which means that it's proven it has happened. What should then be your position once that happens? Do you give them the benefit of the doubt that they didn't do it? Because this person is convicted.
They should go
this means that they did.
They should take a break from that person.
Take a
I
break.
think it's about them.
Yeah, they should take a break, like just
and then to come back later.
And well, I don't know. It depends now. I don't know. It depends.
And I think his relationship with us, God, it's his own business. Alright, so as long as
but if you're leading us, then it affects us directly, and
that's what I'm saying.
Can't just be between you.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying, Kuti. If then you don't want to get involved, then they don't have to do those things, right?
I guess that's why we're told we have to pray for our leaders, because
they should run away as well. They should run away from. How about the people that look up to me? Yeah, it should be Joseph, chicken
people
away.
like Anna.
Hey man, being Joseph is not the easiest thing, huh?
There are people like Anna Yubert, like prophets like Ayubert with
Angel.
Yubert Angel, where it's like you can tell from him his intentions are entirely wrong. Like he's just all about the money. Like
why should you talk about Yubert?
Is that do I hear gold mafia?
Well, because it's like a lot of people go to these prophets seeking breakthrough, like we said, but the intention behind the prophets, some of these prophets, because again, you can be used by an evil spirit, you can be used by God.
True.
Is there a way to differentiate between a person that's actually used by God and a person that's used by an evil spirit? What do you use to...
I think God is the only one who can create. The devil cannot create.
So then how do you differentiate between God's creation and the devil's creation? Oh boy, he doesn't create, whatever, his influence, whatever. He can only corrupt. I think that's what you're going to say. So how do you differentiate between a prophet, Mr. Meraki?
Yeah.
A prophet who is genuine and who's out there for souls, because I do believe that's what spiritual leaders are. They're out there to win souls. How do you differentiate between a person who's actually out there to do that and a person who's just there for the money, the gold, or whatever it is?
Okay.
What do you look at? How do you assess?
And personally, what I would look at is what is it that he's saying, right? Reading.
What is it that he's in?
Reading in between the lines, like if I'm so concerned about a certain man of God, right? If I want to start listening to him, right, I go a little bit extra mile and see how does he live. Is he exemplary? Like I was given an example of one of the prophets that I follow. Despite being Catholic, I follow Prophet Makandio. Why? Because I find the way of life that he displays very exemplary. It's
he's a role model that I would say like, okay, fine. If I ever become a pastor or a prophet, I would really want to be like him.
Like this one.
Right? He's straight up humble. He's just doing his stuff, right? So it's about the acts, because the Bible says,
yeah.
How are you going to see them? They're going to do miracles. They're going to move mountains. They're going to let the cast out demons and all that. But
no, but the most important thing is God is love. In whatever they do is their love. How does it make you feel? Like, do you feel they're patient, they're kind, self-control, the fruits of the spirit?
So what if he loves you and then he actually loves you and he sexually loves you and he loves you?
Let us just be real, guys. Like,
follow what the Bible
says. Religious things, they act like drugs. If you're too much into it, you can.
Okay, just make a break. Just announce for a break. We're taking a break. And also.
Okay. So let me just finish the statement and then.
Saga, do you have to do that on camera?
Yeah, just do it
All right.
on camera.
So I was saying, so if you follow into a certain religion, or if you follow a certain prophet or a certain church, you will be so much into it. Like, no one will tell you it's wrong or whatsoever. So I mean, I think for now there's like my view towards almost everything so far as far as religion is concerned.
I think because I'm a very skeptical person, and for someone to like influence me to that level, that I must have worked.
Been very, very, very powerful.
You must know your stuff, because when I gave my life to Jesus Christ, I submerged I literally just drowned in the Word of God, and I wasn't just taking from one source, but I was learning from everywhere and reading my Bible.
Wow.
Because I don't believe in, yes, they're good leaders. There are some really, really good pastors out there, and I listen to some of them. But for me to actually say, this is pastor, and this is the person that I go to, like, if I need help or anything like that, I feel like I'll be boxing myself up. I'll be boxing myself
Alrighty, folks.
up.
So this is a perfect place to leave it for the first half. We are going to come back. We're going to take a very, very short break and then get back. So when we come back, we'll talk about how these leaders, political, spiritual leaders, churches, affect the country sort of economically, the people that they're leading, the people who are in economical strain. But there's just a lot of, money taking that's happening that's not very impressive. So when we come back, we'll talk about that. So we'll take a very short break. Right, folks, we back. So on this next segment, we're essentially going to talk about how the churches, the spiritual leaders, essentially contribute and affect the country economically. How are the people that are following these people affected economically? I think we'll start with you, Meraki.
Right,
how do you think that people are affected economically? Trupa Maregon.
And I speak text after my church.
Aba, wumdo text.
Yeah, I speak text after my church. Like, just imagine, we have churches, right? Maybe my HQ is actually Somalia, right? And then fundis comes, and then drums of money, people. No, that one tambra sterek kanu da sterek kutivre stendero.
Oh man. You could not.
To butter my offerings, and then Mario Yongo Toro. Kana maybe by no very happening my bond over no change, then US is gone. So we are saying good to kushanda every day in the streets to get money. Right? And then some of the money, instead of it to go back into the system, we are taking it away. That's another way, right? And the other thing is, if a church does not really promote people using their own hands to work, to develop themselves, we're also going to have people who are rich maybe spiritually but poor walletically. Lobola, you see.
Yes,
So
true.
how does the church setup appreciate things that have to do with economy? Because my mama says, "Ayo, church could have been made by Sarakat." So is it not affect us?
But like, so moving on to you, Vanessa. So he's obviously made a very good point, and I think I like that because then we're expecting to have a little bit of not necessarily political, but then economical activities in church. Is that a fair thing though, considering politics? Do you do like church? Parliament, do you do like church? Should we not have
I think
these
politics
entities?
is everywhere. Just naturally, politics has just infiltrated everything, even church, at home, schools. It's everywhere.
So, like, how do you feel about churches getting involved in terms of, being economically involved, in terms of being politically involved? What I've also quite recently seen is a lot of politicians that are going into church, and obviously, I mean, this is the most convenient time. People, come on, we like elections in August.
I think
praying for things, seeking.
Oh man, just like say people like spiritual help.
And there is a thin line between the church and the state house. I mean, I take it as it's the poet speaking. There's a thin line between the Bible and the rule of law. You can never separate the church from politics, because for a nation to run, for a society to run, right, it must be guided by whatsoever spiritual well-being in that certain area should be in line with whoever is ruling. That's why I realized kuti kudhara tichine setup area kuti ma kings nechichi and masvikiro, and I respect you in that way, and the leader would go to them to consult as well. Why? Because you understand? So if the leader, right, does not go in line with those churches, then there's need because just imagine lately we're celebrating birthday Baba Kuti.
True.
He turned Zana 100, right? And just imagine the president was there.
He was, yeah. So
I was happy to see the president with the God's general, the archbishop, and those two together, right, at the same place, is preaching like. Remember, EDS, the voice of the people is the voice of God. Yeah. So if the man of God is saying, wow, this man can actually come and be in my presence, means then the people also going to be like, and then I follow back Kuti. Wow, he's saying this guy's good, he was there. Right?
Is that not convenient though? Like, how will we know the intentions of the politicians that are actually then going into churches and saying, well, I'm here. They are there. What we know for sure is that they're not necessarily there to push for the word of God. Let me finish up. Chances are the only message which they are giving is that Guramana, we are here, be politically involved, vote for the right party. Is that not convenient? And also, does it happen all the time? Is that actually political leaders caring about these people that they're interacting with as well because it's only convenient?
I'm not going to talk about the government before. I'm going to talk about the Second Republic, which is the government that I believe in.
Is that the government we have now?
I'm talking about the government, with the one which is led by His Excellency Comrade Emerson Dambuzo Mnangagwa.
So that's the government we have now.
Yeah, the Second Republic.
So let's talk about that.
Not talking about the recent or Chinese elections. Even years back, we have seen him going to churches. We have seen him having meetings with the church leaders. We have seen him being active in this sect of spirituality thing. Why? Because the church, right, has a bigger number of people, and for us to be united in a nation, we need a church.
That's true.
Right? We need the prayers. We need to push unity. We need to do all sort of things so that we can be a nation that we want to be. So we're saying, Kuti, in as much as they come, right, agenda, right. But what is important is us as the society. How are we going to see it? We are going to see it as us being united. Right, we're going to see us being loved by the leaders. We are going to have an opportunity. You know that certain people just feel like, wow, now I'm president. It can change someone's life.
I really can. I mean, oh man, I want to sleep. Just like,
you see, so the church, right, has to be in support of the government so that we do not have uprisings. You understand? I believe there are a whole lot of prophets who preach like, terrible things about the government. And just imagine you have people that are following you, and then you're tarnishing the government. Where are we going?
So what if they are not impressed by the government? I think I'll let you take this next one. And as we draw closer to the conclusion, I would like you to also start touching on how are the youth, or how can they be politically involved? And are you guys impressed by, in terms of just like the political energy we have? A lot of people feel that like the apathy is just too much and we are just not very involved, we don't care. How should we be reacting, and what is expected of us? I mean, guys, for crying out loud, we've got elections in August. I mean, I don't know when in August, but we've got very good question.
Even registered.
Are you registered? Are you registered? So I guess
No, I'm not.
register to vote, people. Register to vote.
Registered to vote for.
Not yet.
You're not,
Yeah.
Vanessa.
Yeah.
You don't register to vote.
Not
That's
yet.
not impressive,
because
Vanessa.
God, it's complicated, okay? But I think it's important to remember that our leaders are selected, are given to us by God. That's number one.
Are they though?
They are.
Is that definitive? Is it?
Well, in the Bible, when you look at when God gave the children of Israel, like kings and stuff, you know, it was like prophesied.
So does that mean we don't have control as people to determine? Because I feel like if it's by God, then we have no say and we have no influence at all. Does that mean that we
No,
then
it's
have
not
the
true
rest?
because not all of them were prophesied. Some of them, like some of the kings, they
Were
were
chosen.
asked for, and chosen
Yeah,
as well.
yeah.
But it also, like, we're also told that we have to obey the law. We have to, respect our leaders, honor them.
True.
And that's for a reason. They may not all of the leaders that were there in the Bible were good leaders,
True.
So, but everything is for a reason. And, coming back to your statement of how as youth,
Yeah.
how we take it or how people take it, I feel like it's mixed feelings because I can only speak from my perspective, which is I don't really know. I know yes, Panezanu, there's the oppositions, but to say Kuti, no, I like this group and not this one, I don't know because I haven't looked too much into it. I guess because I don't know, politics is not something that I generally would just dwell in.
Would you be interested in voting though? Do you think you'll be voting? Well, regardless of the fact that you don't know who to vote for, do you think that you need to, I don't know, contribute in determining?
I
who
should
the country
definitely
is?
vote, and I would definitely, tell other people to vote as well. But
It's very
personally,
difficult if
I
you haven't
don't
registered,
know.
Vanessa.
I know, but personally, I don't know who to vote for because we have Nangagwa and the other leaders as well who are
You don't even know his name.
running.
Vanessa.
I think it's very
Is it
certain,
was it Chisham?
Oh, come on.
Yeah, and Mnangagwa, you see. So obviously,
Who are you voting for, my
It's
man?
definite.
Who are you voting for? How's that different? Who are you voting for?
I registered to vote for Emerson Dambuto Mnangagwa.
My man.
And I can say
Teacher,
that
full
out loud.
name. Yeah.
I can say that out loud. I'm a very strong supporter of the
Yeah.
Second Republic and ZANU-PF.
You seem very confident. Are you
I'm
expecting
very-
any backlash or like people just be
Why?
like, why are
Like,
you
do
doing
you mind
that? Why are you
explaining
doing
why? Why?
It's a transition for me. People who have been following me as in my other side career as an artist will tell you that years back I wasn't even supporting the ruling party. Usually I wasn't even. But
What
then,
made you transition? What made you change?
I had to sit down and analyze things, not in a way of being emotional, but taking facts as they are and seeing where I am going and seeing where we are going and perceive Kuti. Is it attainable for us to reach Vision 2030? And I said, yes. Is it attainable that by this certain period in time this can happen? And is it attainable that Zimbabwe can have a good economy and stuff with the current republic and with the current leadership? And
You
trust me,
sound very impressed, and that you actually think that Zimbabwe is doing quite well economically. Am I right in suggesting that
Yeah.
you think that we're doing quite well?
yeah.
I disagree because I don't see the change. Because I'm coming from a country that is developing at a really fast rate, Kenya.
Oh, super.
And then
Super country.
Zimbabwe is literally exactly the same way that it was when I was 5 years old in terms of infrastructure and the economy. It's just getting worse.
Okay.
You don't agree?
If
So
you have time
that's why
to-
it's also a little tricky for me to choose who to vote for, because in all of the leaders that are there, I haven't seen that one leader who I can say, okay, yeah, he's kind of going somewhere with it.
So then perhaps if you've had no change in a very long time, you should try out a new leader who hasn't had
Okay,
an
no,
opportunity
wait,
to
wait,
decide
Exactly.
how
no,
to-
wait.
But everyone is always
Come
like,
on.
no, this one.
Oh, yeah, listen, Vanessa. Listen,
Oh, he's
Vanessa.
about to do that now. He's like,
Yeah,
listen, let's see
exactly.
what-
No, listen, Vanessa. We people, we do not have time to really look at certain things, like sit down. Like I was telling you to sit down and then see facts. If you have time to listen to the budgets, you have time to listen to the reports by the minister from the RBZ, and see how the country is progressing in terms of numbers, in terms of money, economically, on figures. Because before the Second Republic, the country was dying. We had debts, with sanctions and all that. So we are recovering. You understand? It's a recovering economy, and it does not recover like one day. But you see, every day the Second Republic is doing things. Mama roads are ugadzirwa, ma job opportunities are ugadzirwa, ma dem and all that.
So
and
it's
a process.
very interesting that you mentioned that. Quite recently, there was an article which essentially said that the vice president was suggesting that there may be a law which is going to be introduced that criminalizes the hiring of Zimbabwean medical workers. I think you came across this, you might have seen this.
Yeah, I did.
What does this tell you in terms of, because then obviously the attempt is to stop a lot of brain drain that's happening, because a lot of the qualified people are leaving the country because they feel that it's not economically conducive
Yes.
to keep them here. They just feel that they don't make enough and there are greener pastures elsewhere. Are these not the indicators which people should be looking at in terms of assessing whether or not the country is in a trajectory that's safe?
Your perspective of seeing it is very good. But let's take it also on another perspective. On a daily basis, people are going to the UK as nice aids and all that stuff. But how many articles have you read of those people complaining of being ill-treated, human traffickings and all that? And we're taking away the good ones. You know what I mean? Like good doctors, good nurses, they go around, and then here we don't have them. So even if we have medication here, even if we revamp our hospitals and all that, still we are not going to be having the people to be there. So for us to,
They're leaving because they're not getting the fruits of their labor.
yes, and they're saying the economy is recovering. Patience is key.
It has been recovering,
Yeah,
huh?
Sha, but how long am I going to be patient?
No,
You have a
no,
child
it's just
who
been
needs
from
to go to
20
school, they
from
need to eat, all of
2018.
that,
From
and I should be
2018,
patient.
we're saying one good term deserves another one. So I'm saying ED has been doing good. Zimbabwe is open for business, and another term
That's
is going to be
true.
nice. Another term is going to be nice. Like last week, I was in Bindura, my hometown, with my MP. I'm like pushing my MP to win the election.
Who's your
Honorable
MP?
K.S. Msani.
Honorable K.S.
Yeah, and we were doing this youth talent show, and we had guests from these are dance group. They're Koreans, right? They came all the way from Harare to Bindura, and you know, people they come into the event and they seeing those Koreans there. It was like, wow.
Like we've never seen white people.
You see, and
We've
it's
never
an
seen
You're
Koreans.
just amazing them with white people.
No, it was an
No, that's what
engagement.
it
No,
is,
it
like
was an
you-
engagement. Trust me, they actually
Engagement.
picked
Oh, very good point.
a
Engagement.
few dancers to join their crew and stuff, which is something that we're saying good. It's an international connection, because if you're not linking with them, and then they're going for a tour in Malawi, like I think that's following week. So that's literally what we're saying. Right?
So you spoke
That's
about
good marketing,
immigrants.
in my opinion.
Great marketing, man. You spoke about
Come
immigrants.
on.
You spoke about immigrants being ill-treated in a lot of countries. Now,
Yeah.
I grew up in a foreign country as well. I think that the treatment there, in terms of everything, you know, you just regard it as an outcast, because that's literally what you are. I don't think that these people actually want to subject themselves to these conditions. If you grew up in a foreign country, if people really,
And I've been to a foreign country, so
did you grow up there though?
I grew up here where you were not there, so I saw things which you did not see.
Well, and
So-
I want to
It's a
see
good
these things,
point.
but at the same time, I also grew up in a place where there were things that you
Where did you
didn't
grow
see.
up?
Now I'm
You
trying
grew
to
up in
point
Kenya.
out
Where were
Kenya,
you?
South Africa.
Wow.
Yeah, I grew up in South Africa, and living in South Africa as Zimbabwean is not the most comfortable thing. You know,
I
there's
know.
just this Man, it's just this it's not great, you know. I would obviously want to. I've moved back now into Zimbabwe, and I'm super happy at the same time. But I still do understand that the people that are living for a reason, and that they do not want to subject themselves to the conditions that they experience where they're coming from. Now, I think that these should be things that should be telling us perhaps something is not quite right and something needs to be changed.
Confidence. People don't have confidence in themselves. They don't have confidence in a positive cause. So we're saying, Guti, for us to go where we want to go, unity is the key. So if you're united for a purpose, right? Remember, just imagine we're saying, Guti, 5 million votes for ED. 5 million people with one agenda, Vision 2030. Imagine a country like that.
So what is 5 million? Is that the target?
Listen, unity to go where? Because that's where I'm not getting. What's the vision? What am I?
What are we united in? What are we?
As a middle class economy by 2030.
Somewhere by 2030. To me, that's not enough. Like, I need to know step by step.
Okay.
Like, okay, so we're gonna improve in this area. We're gonna improve roads, infrastructure, education, health systems. Like, you need to look at all.
To be fair, I think there have been plans which have been laid out, and if you follow politics quite closely, which I don't very much, but I think they have suggested that this is what we want to do. But then my question then becomes, when have we been governed by the same political party that's governing us now? From when? Since when?
The first part of core is, when I was saying Vision 2030, it's
in terms
headline,
of
but there are strategies, right? And there are layouts and there are things that the government is going to be targeting, and they're given good by this so and so time, by the 20 Chagat, the government should have done 1, 2, 3, and they're ticking, right? And it's remember I said it's a new system. Right?
Visually, I have not seen a change.
Wow, right. That's what I was saying, Kuti. The country, when we got independence, it was running well up until there was a time where bad leadership came, right?
But which political party was in power at that time?
Let me continue. Then there was a period of time where things were deteriorating and things were happening and all that. And then someone saw, like, if I do not take action, this is going to be terrible. And he had seen the mistakes, right? And he had seen the mistakes, and they were not like, we are going to keep on tarnishing the image of the party when there's certain people that are bad in the party that are eating state funds, taxpayers' money and all that. And then that's when we had the Second Republic coming. That's when we had Comrade Edie coming now. But things were not okay, right? Trust me, it's not going to be a process, because we had a lot of debts, we had a lot of damaged things that had happened, and things had to change. And I'm talking from a place where we had certain minds that were not even working, but now there's things happening there, right?
I feel like this is some really, really deep economics, but then just like bringing it back to the youth and how do you think that as the youth, or how would you suggest to the political parties that are going to contest to reach out to the youth, and what would your words be of encouragement, just as we draw closer to the conclusion? We'll start with you, and then you come, Vanessa, and then
First thing come first, Zimbabwe is a free nation. You are free to choose whatever
100%.
you want
And
to do.
I must point out that one of the most beautiful things when it comes to politics is being able to disagree on things and still be able to talk about it and still be able to friends. I think a lot of people, and we do condemn, the political violence that happens and all the fighting. That's not necessary.
That is what ZANU-PF is teaching to us, the young bloods.
And that is beautiful. We support that fully.
Violence is not key. We are not going to be fighting anyone, because
it's not even.
We believe in what we believe in. So if you don't believe in what we're believing in, it's fine. You'll see it one day. That, why was I wasting my time not pushing for this idea?
It's interesting that you say that. I remember a couple of months ago there was a story with ZANU-PF youths who attacked was it CCC members, old people. Have you heard of the story? You are
social media propaganda.
You don't think it happened?
No.
It didn't happen.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying it might have happened, or it actually happened, and it actually
what do you
happened.
think of it?
But as a party, it's condoning violence. That if you check very well, Kuti, after that Madarairo and stuff, the leadership there was actually saying we are going to look into it, and people don't do follow-ups. if you made a follow-up, you see that there was really action that was taken. Because
Yeah.
the party is not allowing any violence.
And that's beautiful, as it should not. I
Because
think that
we are
violence
cleaning
is-
a name that had been damaged,
Yeah.
right? Right. We are giving a new brand, a new ED brand, a new Zimbabwe that is open for business.
Hey man, I'm starting to like this new brand. It's like I might just my man Kenneth. So to the youth, how would you encourage them to just like get politically involved? Just before we move over to Vanessa and to quickly complete.
Let's work towards a cause. We all have dreams. Our dreams should not be affected by politics, but should be supported by whatever the leadership that is there. So for us to be better Zimbabweans, for us to have walletically stability.
Be politically
And
secure.
we must push for what we believe in. If it's education, pursue it,
Yeah.
right? And then in your pursuing of it, make sure that you're making the right choices at the right time,
True.
so that you don't have to blame other people for certain things that they never did, right? So if we're politically active in choosing the right things and the right leadership
And the right parties. Yeah.
just imagine us voting for someone who does not even know how to write a letter just because there's opposition. We just don't
Yeah.
understand people.
Yeah.
And we're neglecting someone who's educated, someone who links someone all that to develop a community. We are not going
So
to
in essence, you essentially saying follow policies and not personalities.
don't hate the brand if you do not know what's inside.
Oh man.
It's not just alcohol, man.
That is too deep.
It's a 75-year-old
inside
That is too deep. That is too deep. That is too deep. So moving over to Vanessa.
And you should register to vote.
Register
right.
to vote, people.
And register to vote for ED.
Just register to vote. Would you say they should register to vote for, Vanessa?
I'm not gonna. You should definitely vote. I'm not gonna tell you who you should vote for, but whoever it is you decide to vote for, make sure that their vision aligns with what the type of change that you want to see in Zimbabwe. But all in all, for me, it's in as much as I have my questions. I'm a skeptic. I think one thing I respect about the Zimbabwean leaders is how I know they're striving to make Zimbabwe as independent as possible,
Yeah.
because we are
Drum roll
rich.
for your head.
Because we are rich. We're very rich. I mean, you look at other countries that they live in a desert. They don't have water. They don't have agriculture. They don't have mining. But you look at Zimbabwe. We have all of these things. Like, we're rich, and so I think we just need a leader who is intelligent, who's smart, and is someone who's not afraid to also seek for advice from other smart people.
True.
I think if the moment we establish a good leadership, then we can't be beat by people who don't have things that we have naturally. Like, we are so rich.
I was shocked in the morning to hear that we are amongst the top 8 countries by name Mammo's reserves and lithium in the whole world.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is
I was like,
oh man, crazy
yo.
stuff. The country is
we're
very rich.
We're very rich.
And the reason why we are not benefiting from that war, those people that the leadership and the party removed from power, from government offices, from the party and all that, because Zimbabwe should be a place where in should be free, right? And if I know enjoy Zimbabwean boys,
I think we are slowly running out of time. But again, once more, thank you so much, guys, for coming. Thank you so much for your insights. In conclusion, dear Zimbabweans, a change will not come essentially because we want it to come. It's going to require us to actively participate, register to vote, and actually bring about the change. Who you vote for, that's your personal business. I think you've got a suggestion. Vote for.
I've already said that. I've already said that.
You don't know yet, yeah? But like whoever you vote for, that's your personal business.
And before we even go, as Kenias The Meraki, I'm actually going to launch a book. It's an anthology for poetry on the 1st of July. It's called The Reincarnation Memoirs, where I'm going to be talking about everything that we have seen and everything I've dreamed about, the life experiences, on the 1st of July. So make sure that people, you go on my social media handles at Kenias The Meraki, like, follow, subscribe. Trust me, the book is going to be worth it. It's going to be worth it.
My man, have you any last words before we...
I mean, this was fun, and I don't know, I don't have a book or anything, but maybe in the future, Yeah.
Great stuff. Alrighty, folks. I guess that's it from Youth Thoughts. It's been lovely hanging out with these beautiful people, beautiful, intelligent people. We hope that you guys will follow us on this journey that we're having. We're coming up with our next episode. Just please like, share, and subscribe. Most importantly, please share. I can guarantee you, if you're not a big fan of this, you will share it to a lot of people who will like this. So make sure that you share it and you spread word. Peace out.
Peace.